The following is a presentation of the Matt Talk Podcast Network.
The BVU Beavercast is proudly supported by alum and two-time All-American Monty Mers and High Country Search. Elevate your search at highcountrysearch.com.
Welcome to the Lodge. It's time to settle in for the Buena Vista Wrestling Beavercast. Join host Jason Bryant and head wrestling coach Jeff Brees as we talk all things BV wrestling. Now, on to the show.
Episode 34 of the BVU Wrestling Beavercast. Welcome back into the Lodge. My name is Jason Bryant, joined today by assistant coach Sean White, a happily married Sean White. First of all, Coach, congratulations on your recent nuptials.
Thanks, man. It's exciting to finally take that plunge.
They say it all goes uphill from here, man. It all goes uphill from here. So as we at BV in the wrestling family, let's talk a little bit about your bride. Let's get some background. People want to know the deal. How long's this been going on, and where did you guys opt to go?
Yeah, so I met her shortly after getting to BV.
Let's get a name first, because for us, her name is going to be her or Coach's wife, because I haven't met her. So
Yeah. Her name's Bailey. She's an Iowa girl. And back when I left for college, out of Colorado, coming out to Iowa, my parents told me, go find yourself a good Iowa woman. That didn't happen up until I got out here to BV, but I finally did that. So that was good. And I met her shortly after I got to BV. Very well-known internet site.
Hey, I met my wife on eHarmony, so that's a well-known internet site too. So
it wasn't quite eHarmony. We met. She was at Iowa State at the time, going through vet school, and so for the majority of our relationship, she was down in Ames. Actually, I brought this up at the wedding. If it wasn't for Coach Brees sending me down to the Fall Brawl to go recruit, that was the first time I actually got to meet her in person. I went down to Fall Brawl. On the way back, I hit up Ames and got to hang out with her for the first time. So it's kind of Coach Brees, who got us hooked up together. But we were together for a couple years, being 2 hours away. And then last year we got engaged, and as soon as she graduated, she got a job up this way. And then, had our wedding this last weekend. So,
yeah. So what was the honeymoon situation? Where because doing this during wrestling season, I'm getting like the start of wrestling practice. It's like, okay, if you're gonna do it before the during wrestling season, at least do it the very beginning. That way, it's not during competition.
Right. So originally, I didn't want to have the wedding anywhere close to wrestling season.
Smart man.
I would have preferred it to be back towards the summertime, but my brother has been living in Italy in the last 4 years. He's in the Air Force, and he wasn't going to be able to come back until October sometime. And so I was like, well, I guess, we'll try and do it in October, right away in October. So that way it's right at the beginning of the season, and I don't have to worry too much about things going on. And luckily he got to leave and move back to the States on October 1st, just a week before the wedding, which was awesome. And then, as far as the wedding right before the season, it was a perfect time for it. Gave me a little bit of a mini vacation before we really start going. It was tough being away because we did have our first 5 practices while I was gone on our honeymoon. But I felt the honeymoon was important too, because if we didn't do it right away, as a wrestling coach, I don't know when I would have found time to actually get away again. So we went down to Belize.
Nice.
I've never been, down in that area. The only out of the country experience I've had was I went over to Germany back when I was 20 to do some wrestling stuff. And so to experience kind of that area was pretty awesome. A little new, got to see some cool cultural stuff and spend some time in the mountains, spend some time on the beach. And it was just good to get to experience all that. So, but that trip, she planned the trip. We had a travel agent actually do all the planning, but she's like, yeah, let's go to Belize, have some adventure, do some fun stuff down there. But I had a great time and she had a good time too. But there's three things that she is not particular about that was basically the entire trip, and that's bugs. Don't like bugs.
Well, it's Central America, so okay, gotcha.
And she doesn't like being hot and sweaty all the time, which Central America,
Okay,
that's
humidity,
what you're going to
Central
get.
America, yeah, gotcha.
And she's not fond of Mexican food, which that's all we ate. So
well, you ate Central American food. I'm sure it's very similar considering Belize's proximity to Mexico, but
right. So it wasn't her ideal trip. She said next time we go to somewhere, it's going to be somewhere like Alaska.
Okay, so the lessons here, you can teach your guys on the team these lessons here. It says, okay, make sure you know what your bride-to-be likes to eat. And if they don't like Mexican food, do not suggest Cabo San Lucas, for example. So these are lessons that you learn because, I got strep throat on my honeymoon, which was like, and then I moved back to Lancaster. I didn't move back. We went back to Lancaster, Pennsylvania to clean up my house that was empty. Coach Brees has actually stayed in that house when he was actually interviewing for the job that I used to have with the NWCA. So that house, so getting strep throat and cleaning out roaches from a bad renter. I think I might have you beat as far as honeymoon nightmares, but and we actually had to stay in separate beds because the hotel we got in Strasbourg, the only thing left was 2 single beds. We're like, really?
Oh,
really? So now back. This isn't about me, but so coming back from the honeymoon, you realize getting it out of the way. I think that was a smart decision, not to get it out of the way like it was something you like. Oh, I got to do this. No, having a honeymoon, getting it done, taking care of it, because, oh boy, I can tell you this from my experience. The wife's not really going to want to come on these wrestling trips and be like, oh yeah, well we can hang out here. No, you're not going to be able to hang out here. You're going to be stuck in a gym all day, and I'll be sitting in the hotel room watching Lifetime or Hallmark Movie Network. So that's how that goes. So very smart on your behalf on getting at least, somewhat an uncomfortable, sticky vacation out of honeymoon out of the way. So now you know where to go. I would recommend Alaska, even though I've never been there, if that makes any sense.
Right, for sure. But you mentioned her going on wrestling trips. When we were 2 hours apart, she'd come up and visit on a weekend. I'd be like, well, that's awesome you're coming up, but I gotta go recruit. I gotta go off, and go to this tournament. And she'd be like, oh, okay, I'll go with you, I guess. Okay. So she would trek along and bring a book, read it in the stands, and it probably wasn't the most fun thing for her, but she was willing to do that, and I think that
love
was
there, brother. That's you got a woman that's willing to sit in a sweaty gym for 12 hours a day. Because of you, man. That's a winner. My wife won't even do that. I think she did that once at the Division III Nationals in lacrosse. We might have been married. Yeah, I think we were married then. Might have been let me think. 09, let's see, 10. Yeah, it would have been probably either engaged or married. I had the years run together at this age. But she sat there and was like, I'll just skip these tournaments unless they're warm weather. She might go to the convention with me in the future again.
Well, and I think that was through our dating, as she's got her own job now, and I think her wrestling trips might get limited now because she doesn't have to actually be there to see me anymore since we're married and we live together. She's like, God, no, get away, go do your thing. I don't need to go. So. But no, that's she's a great girl, and she actually didn't know about wrestling really until me. Outside of knew it was a sport, but she didn't know much about it. And
how's a girl from Iowa know nothing about wrestling?
She knew some, but not much. I had to teach her a little bit. So she's not from an area that was big into wrestling. She's from, and you can try and look this up, but it's Miles, Iowa.
All right, I'm gonna do that right now. Hold on.
It's way over there on the east side, town of about 200 people. So
I'm Google mapping this right now. Okay, I see. There's that's That, yeah, there is really nothing there. Sorry,
Yeah.
the 200 people in Miles, Iowa that may be listening to this program, but yeah, you're between. I don't even know.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
I'm assuming it's probably not far for some good fishing because the Mississippi runs not that far away from it.
yeah,
But
yeah. But
yeah, that
just south of there, Clinton, Iowa, they got some good wrestling down in
Clinton I've heard
Clinton.
of. That's then you got to zoom out of the map to zoom out to some. Like, okay, I've heard of. Oh wait, that town's that I've heard of is in Illinois.
Yeah, yeah.
But
So
as far as the summer goes, shifting gears is through all the wedding planning and whatnot. You also had an opportunity to hit the U.S. World Team Trials up, and as part of the World Team Trials, there's the USA Wrestling Silver Coaches College. Explain what that is to folks who may not be familiar with it, and explain why you opted to go through the Silver College course.
yeah, so with USA Wrestling, they got this coaches education program to just help educate coaches and help across the nation. All coaches just be better at what we do, and to make sure that there's a system in place so that as a whole, as a nation, that we can grow in the sport and bring back medals from world championships and things like that. And there's the certifications: copper, bronze, silver, and gold. And so the silver college is basically you have to go and sit in and listen to all these people talk, and you learn from different coaches about different things, communication, some technique, and just different ways to kind of run your program when it comes to freestyle and Greco, mostly because that's USA Wrestling. And so to get your silver, you have to go to this coaches college, and then there's like 5 other things that you have to accomplish to get silver certified. And so I went down to that. It was a great experience. I learned so much. Actually, it really changed my my coaching philosophy a little bit, and kind of what I teach and how I teach and things like that. So it was really huge for me as a coach, and to grow as a advocate of the sport. And then the best part about that experience, outside of all the knowledge that I gained, was getting to watch the Worlds. So, which was probably one of the best world championships or world trials that's happened in a while. So,
Yeah, it was definitely pretty good one from my vantage point. So,
yeah.
was, I get to sit right down and close, and I can only imagine what it was like being there. Having the fans around you, just kind of soaking it all in. That's one thing you kind of miss sitting down in the head table or the media area, is like you don't get that interaction with other fans. Be like, oh, did you see that? And if I want to see, oh, did you see that? I have to tap like Sandy. And, yes, she saw it.
Right.
Okay, because we're both watching the same thing. Now, as it relates to how is a silver coaching card, for example, being silver certified, help you not just with the BV side of things, but with the Northwest Iowa Regional Training Center?
It just increases my ability to help our kids that want to pursue the freestyle Greco route. We got guys that we're recruiting, guys that are on our team that, hey, coach, I want to make a world team. I want to do this. We'll go to U23s. We want to go to Akron, Ohio and wrestle. We want to go do all these things. And so it just increases my knowledge to be able to help those guys get that. It allows me to make some more connections with other coaches, and create some relationships with coaches that I can, maybe send some of our guys to go work with. If they get an opportunity to wrestle somewhere else and train with some other people, it's going to be very helpful for them. But also, it allows us to, hey, we got guys that are trying to make world team, so it just helps with our recruiting and just all around. The regional training center is just huge for our program. So,
talking about the dynamic of the staff, you'd said that you would miss the first week of practice because there was that thing called a honeymoon. But last show we had Ernesto Garcia on, new addition to the staff, and there's a third coach here. I mean, how much has Ernie picked up the slack in your eyes since you've returned, be like, okay, yeah, good first week, Ernie.
Yeah, no, it's huge to have Ernesto a part of the staff, having a third guy that's around all the time. Me and Coach Reese were talking, and it's not like we're doing less work, but we find ourselves with a little bit more time to actually do some more wrestling specific things that we wouldn't always be able to get around to because, there's this business side of the wrestling program where you just got to make sure things are in check and get things organized. So it's really helped out a lot, recruiting wise as well. Ernie, jumped right into the recruiting and picked up a lot of slack there where me and Coach Brees were, making call after call after call, spending late nights. We can now, triple our calls, having 3 guys on the phone. That's just been huge. The amount of kids that we've been bringing in on campus, and the kids that we're reaching out to, it's just having him has made a huge difference. And then with that first week, me being gone, I came back and I was like, what's been going on? They this. I'm like, wow, did you guys even need me? So.
Your papers are organized. Your your clothes are folded. You're like, hey, this is gonna work out.
Yeah, for sure. So no, it's great with that third person. And Ernesto's a great guy for the position because he does stay organized. He takes initiative and just gets things done when things need to be done. So and before, when I was the guy to make sure that things were organized for travel and things like that, it's just nice to have that extra person that's just as organized to make sure those things get done. So
one thing that came up was the fight on the Forum, and the original schedule you would have been unable to attend, but a little bit of that October rain came through and pushed things back to the middle of the week with the fight on the Forum. Let's talk about that experience and how cool you think it was for the BV community to see the guys scrap out there.
Yeah, as much as I wish it would have been on the 14th, just because that was the date that was originally planned. I got really excited when it wasn't going to be outside, because I was planning on making it, but due to flights and things like that, I couldn't. So when it got pushed, I was like, yes, because this was a huge event, I think, for our program, for the university. All around. And so I was really excited it rained. And then we pushed it to Wednesday, yesterday, which turned out to be a great October day. It was like 72 degrees. It was actually pretty hot outside. Some of the guys were like, geez, coach, it's hot out. It's probably hotter outside than it would have been in our room. Plus we had some bugs out there that were biting, it was just a little bit different atmosphere to wrestling. But it turned out to be really great. We had people were getting out of class right about the time we were starting. So people were walking by, like, being able to see our guys, kind of put some hard work in. There was a community meeting. So as professors were walking by to go to that, they saw what was going on. And some of them were like, oh man, I wish I didn't have to go to this meeting. I really want to sit and watch this, and we had a lot of students hanging around. The baseball team walked by after doing a little get together and hung out, and it's just great to be able to do something like that that's going to promote the sport, and then promote our program as well, and really just kind of put us out in the open of everyone so they can see the hard work that our guys are putting in, and that that big things are to come. So.
Now everybody loves a good travel kerfuffle, so let's dial back to that. So, how fun was that travel back from Belize?
Well, it wasn't so much the travel back that was bad; it was the travel getting there. So we got married on Saturday. We were flying out at 6 a.m. out of Moline.
Because that's a destination when you go to Belize, you just think, okay, I'm thinking Moline.
Yeah, well, that was the closest airport to get out. But so we got we got married. We got back to the hotel that night at like 12, went to sleep, woke up at 3, got in the car and headed to the airport for our flight. We boarded the plane, and then the plane stopped working, and they deplaned us. And I don't know exactly what was wrong with the plane. At some point, they said something about the battery was dead and we got to get a supercharger that's 30 minutes away. And I'm like, what? It just didn't make any sense to me. But we were stuck in the airport for 7 hours. And so we were flying to Atlanta to Belize. There's only one flight out of Atlanta a day that goes to Belize. And and that connecting flight was 50 minutes after we were supposed to land in Atlanta. And so as soon as we deplaned, I was like, we're not making that flight. And so as soon as that all happened and I was sitting in the airport, I texted Coach Brees and said, hey, dude, I'm not going to make it on Saturday. We pushed all of our itinerary plans for our honeymoon a day later, headed out that evening to Atlanta, which I'd never been to Atlanta, neither had Bailey. So we went to the Georgia Aquarium, which is pretty awesome. And then kind of spent that first night in Atlanta and then jumped on the next plane out to Belize that next day and kind of just did our scheduled stuff that was planned originally. So, but yeah, we were stuck in Moline Airport, which is a very small airport that we were there for 7 hours that first day that was supposed to be our honeymoon. So that was pretty interesting, but that's pretty much it. And then on the way back, we spent the entire Saturday traveling back. Took a small puddle jumper plane across the big country of Belize to get to Belize City, and then flew out back to Atlanta.
What about as big as Delaware or something like it? It's not big. Yeah. It's not a big country.
No, it's not. But it was pretty cool to get on that little tiny plane. We were in southern Belize towards the end, jumped on this really tiny plane. I was about 3 feet from the pilot, being able to watch everything he was doing, which was really cool.
One of those flights where your cell phone works the entire time because you're so low. Like that stretch from Colorado Springs to Denver, the 12-minute flight. Yeah, you're 10,000 feet up, but you're already 6,000 feet up, so you can look down and actually see your friend's car driving on I-25.
Yeah. We stayed fairly close to the ground. You could look right out your window the whole time and see everything pretty clear too. So that was a cool flight. And then we flew from Belize City back to Atlanta and had a 5-hour layover in Atlanta, which isn't too bad in Atlanta because it's a bigger airport. So there's plenty to do and places to eat. And then we got back to Moline at 11:30 at night and made it back up to our parents' house that night. And then that next morning I had a 5-hour drive back to Storm Lake. And, I took that Sunday off and started back to work Monday morning at 7 a.m. for weights. So.
Nesto, get out of my seat. I'm going to be back to coaching now. So
exactly.
Moving towards the season, you talked about the Silver College kind of changing your philosophy a little bit. What are you trying to bring to year 4? We've heard Coach Brees explain his goals for this year, and Ernie talk about his goals in his first year as a coaching role. Now you've been coaching a couple years, a couple places now. What are some things that you're going to try to bring to this BV team this year that's maybe something new and different? That's what, I think this will work.
Yeah. So the one thing that has stayed constant in my philosophy is to, the fight, bring the fight, don't stop fighting the entire time, constant wrestling, and really put the pressure on. But through the coaches college and kind of picking up some things from some different coaches out there, one thing, Zach Dominguez down at MWC, he brought a really good point in talking about transitions versus setups. He doesn't talk about setups at all because for him, if you say a setup, it means you have to be set, then go. So he talks more transition from one to another, and basically chain wrestling, which, we've all heard over and over again. But, when he started talking about the way he talked about it, it kind of allowed me to take a different approach to things and just talk more on transition from one to another. And it's something I brought back, talked to about with Coach Brees, and he said, yep, I like this. Let's incorporate this stuff. And so we started doing a little bit more of that. And it's not so much anything different than what we've been doing before. It's just a different way of saying it. And our guys have really picked up on it. And so it's allowing our guys to actually see how they can keep wrestling the entire time and not lose position. Once you lose position, transition to another. And eventually you'll score and just keep putting points on the board. So that's probably the biggest thing from that, and just from some of the other things over the summer that I've learned. And this summer, I've told Coach Brees this summer was probably the biggest summer I've ever had on growth as a coach, just from going to the college, from doing the Fargo scene, being on the Greco staff for Team Iowa, and some of the camps that I went to and got to be clinician for, is just really huge for my coaching and being able to help our guys get to their goals and where they want to be. So.
Now we're looking forward towards the season, and from a win-loss perspective, the records haven't been super stellar. Where have you seen improvement, and where are the biggest things you think that this team and the guys on it need to improve upon to turn the ship around, to have instead of 2-win seasons, having 5 and 6 dual meet wins and putting a couple guys on the podium at regionals and getting to the national championships?
Yeah, I'd have to say it's mindset and confidence. I mean, and both go hand in hand. You got a solid mindset, you're going to stay confident in what you're doing. And that's just going to come back to repetitions. The more you do something, the more confident you are in doing it. The more confident you are, the stronger mindset you're going to have going into your matches. And with what our records have been, and kind of where some guys have been at, sometimes that mindset is tough, and being confident is tough because you may have not seen some of the success that you've wanted to see. And so just really, really honing in on that mindset and, trying to help guys get a little bit more confident in what they're doing through repetitions, working on video, and just breaking things down. I've been doing a lot of individual work since I've been back, and even beforehand, getting guys in an individual practice, taking 2 concepts, and just hitting a bunch of repetitions on those 1 to 2, maybe 3 things, so they can be confident in that, and then just, take their wrestling to the next level, really. So I think that's the biggest thing that our guys are going to need. Strong mindset, a lot of confidence, and just, hey, let's do this. Why not? Why can't BV be top in the conference again? Why can't we take 4 or 5 guys to nationals? Why can't we have an All-American this year? Why not? That's something that I've kind of brought from Coach Miller, being under him as a wrestler. He used to say that stuff all the time.
Oh,
Why
by
not?
the way, and not to interrupt, I don't think we're allowed to say the W word on the show anymore. I'm just pointing that out.
Right.
You may continue your story, but no more W words on the show.
I didn't say the W word. I said Coach. I mentioned my former coach, which is a great guy.
You might be allowed because that is your alma mater. Okay. Okay. I might give you a pass on the school that sounds like Artberg and might be in Aberley. So.
Yeah, but and he continues to coach me to this day, which is awesome. But that's something that I've heard preached a lot. Why not me? Why not us? If not me, who?
Wasn't that from like pro wrestling? Why not me? Why not Raven? Anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
Throwing a lot at you this morning.
Yeah, but really that's all it is. Our guys gotta think that way. Why not? Why not me? Why not Ryan Camp? Why not Brad Kirchhoff? Why not Nate Vento? Why not these guys? You know, um, they have the ability, they have the skills, they have the athleticism. Um, it's confidence in what they can do. It's knowing that when they step on that mat, they're going to get the job done. If we got 10 guys that are willing to step up and do that and have that confidence and that mentality, BV's going to have a great year, and we're going to have a lot of great years to come. So,
You mentioned a couple guys that are working, and why not them? Who do you think in the early going has made the biggest off-season gains? I mean, not singling anybody out or forgetting anybody accidentally, but there's definitely got to be some people you've seen put in the work in the off-season.
yeah, well, that is a very, very tough thing to kind of pinpoint because we've had a lot of guys put in a lot of work this summer. We had a group of three guys in particular, Shane Vaughn, Riley Altenberg, and Ryan Camp, that they went up to a camp in up at LOG, helped out at this camp at LOG, Legend of Golden, South Dakota, Beersford. And then when we got back from that, I had a camp that I was supposed to run, but I can't remember why I wasn't able to go. So I said, hey, can you guys go and run this camp for me? It was up in Spencer, Iowa, for a couple of our alums up there. And so they went up and did that. And I gave them a practice plan. I said, here's the practice plan. Go do that. And they did. And as soon as they got back from that, they're like, wow, coach, that was awesome. Thanks for letting us do that. And they took initiative upon themselves to start setting up their own camps. They went down to Johnston because that's where Shane Vaughn's, that's where his high school's at. They all three went down to Johnston and ran a practice for them down there. And one thing I learned up at the Silver College that I already knew, but it was good to get it reiterated to me, is that 90% of learning is teaching. So if you're teaching skills and these drills and techniques, you're going to get better at them. And so those guys took that initiative, and that helped them really grow in their wrestling. We've had a lot of other guys. I've even made it a point to make them show each other moves throughout the year. So now they're teaching each other stuff, and now they're learning and getting better at it. And it's just been huge for those guys that stayed over the summer, and for, just the team as a whole. So, it's hard to really pinpoint the guys who made the biggest gains, because we made a lot of gains through off-season training, and we got a good group of guys that have been very goal oriented and focused in on what they want to accomplish in their 4 years here. So,
as we set to wrap up this particular episode, you've gotten married, you've gotten a honeymoon, you've got a third coach, you've got another season under your belt. If there was one goal that you were to set for you personally, that may or may not have to do with the team or wrestling as a whole, what's that one goal that you want to achieve in the 2017-18 season?
I would say to get the majority of our team to have that one eye-opening experience where they break the door down, and try and get each individual to see their potential, and just it clicks and they break that door down and they beat someone they're not supposed to. I think if we can get guys to do that, to just, hey, why not me? I'm going to beat this guy. I don't care if he's ranked number 1. I don't care what singlet he's wearing. Doesn't matter. I go outfight him, and get that job done. That's kind of a goal for me. We got the goals of for the team and have guys to nationals and things like that. But it's those little things that I think are going to be the most important thing. They're going to allow us to get to those bigger goals. So, yeah, let's break the door down.
Breaking the door down to the lodge here on the BV Wrestling Beavercast. Coach White, congratulations again, and we'll see you down the line this season.
Thanks, Jason.
This show is part of the Matt Talk Podcast Network. For more wrestling podcasts, head over to MattTalkOnline.com.